FlossTube, welcome back. My name is Robin and this is my channel, Lady Robins, and you can also find me under the same name, Lady Robins, on Instagram if you're an Instagram person. So welcome. I am happy to have you back. If you're a subscriber and you're returning to see what I'm up to, thank you for coming back. And if you're new, I welcome you also. I hope you find something to inspire you and bring you joy today. This is a FlossTube channel where I talk about cross stitch. That's the name of the game on FlossTube, is cross stitch. So sit back, relax. We'll just have a little bit of fun together this morning. It is Monday. It is the 18th of May. And that is a big deal here in the Pacific Northwest. This is the 40th anniversary of the eruption of Mount St. Helens. So we have lots of stuff on the news talking about the eruption and the devastation that that caused. And in 1980, it was my senior year in high school. So now you know exactly how old I am. But I worked at a Farrell's ice cream parlor. And if you're from around here, and they're actually in other places too, I know there's a couple down in California, I can remember hearing about the eruption, and I went to work and we stood out in the parking lot and we could see the ash plume in the parking lot. It was crazy. I mean, the thing, erupted at, 8:32 in the morning, I think it was. And I went and did my afternoon shift after I went to school. And yeah, you could see that huge column of ash up in the sky. It was really quite something to experience that firsthand, and then going home and watching the news and realizing just how impactful that was. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm enjoying the news coverage. And anyway, I just thought I'd share a little bit about what May 18th brings up for me. I definitely remember that ash cloud, and it was miles and miles and miles and miles away, and you could see it from everywhere. So anyway, little local history for you. So what am I going to talk about today? Cross stitch. But before we do, mug of the week. I am back in Edmonton. I think I showed this one a couple of weeks ago. And I did take last week off. Sorry about that. Work was crazy. I just had to do it. I had to buckle down. I got a new task. I'll tell you about that a little bit. Anyway, I got a new task which has been all-consuming, and I'm learning new things, so that's a good thing, right? You can't be mad about learning new skills, but I hope that it's job security, not, oh my gosh, you're so slow, we're gonna have to fire you. I'm just kidding. They are very kind and very accommodating where I work. So that mug has a smoothie in it. This is Atlanta. I'm two mugger this morning. This has got the coffee. Yeah, got the coffee. So, like I told you, I took last week off and I got a new task at work. We are trying to upload as much digital content as we can to the library's Facebook pages, and we're trying to we've got an Instagram account, but it hasn't been used much, so we're trying to beef up our content on those two social media platforms. So the thing that I got to learn last week was how to caption our videos that are uploading to Facebook. And it seems like it should be really super simple, because you upload the video and you can click a box that says to, subtitle and add captions, and that should be it, right? Gosh, there's so much more to it than that, because one of the things that I'm very aware of now is you need to not rattle on at 150 miles an hour, because that program has a really hard time grabbing your words and, you know, translating it into texts. So I was doing a story time video for one of our children's librarians, and she was singing, and it's a delightful video. It's super cute, but the song goes really fast in a couple of different parts, and that little algorithm could not catch the words, and then, yeah, there was all sorts of stuff. So I think on a 5.5-minute video, it took me 7 to 8 hours to get the captioning right. So it's taking me a little over an hour a minute. So that was just a whole new world. I have not had to, I've never had to do that before, so it was fun. Luckily we have a gal that works with me, and she's a genius on all of this stuff, and so she can't do it all by herself. So there's 3 of us that are trying to work through these videos, and she was very, very kind and very gracious, giving me tips and showing me how to do stuff and answering my newbie questions, which I really appreciated. That meant that I just did not have time to do a floss tube. I did get a little stitching done, so I will show you where I'm at with my stitching. Let's transition over to talking about stitching, shall we? Work is not that interesting, I'm sure. And do you get to say happy mid-mania? This is the start of week number 3 for Stitch Mania. So I have figured out what my start is going to be for week 3, so I'll show you that. I thought I would just do a quick update on where I am on my Stitch Mania pieces. So I thought I'd start with that. I will start with what I started for week number 1. If y'all remember, I went with my beloved Bent Creek, and I'm working on the Candy Corn of Mischief. And what's interesting, in the pattern here, the noses and the mouth and the eyes are all stitched in that really cool yellow. And I discovered when I was going through my kit here, because this came all kitted up, I didn't kit it up, I just bought the whole thing, there is a mystery color in here. There is, now the yellow is still there because at the top of the pattern, all the little stars and moons are going to be stitched in this yellow, right? This yellow here. But that should also be the same yellow for the eyes and nose and mouth. That's a song, right? Little kid song, story time, right? Anyway, that is not what's called for on the chart. They have a completely different floss called out in the chart. It's this one, which is kind of a, you know, a browny, gray-y color, which is not bad, but I sure like the yellow eyes, nose, and mouth better. So I'm going to stitch the stars and the moons with the yellow and see how much I have left over. And if I don't feel like I have enough, then I'm going to call my local L&S and see about ordering some more of that pearl cotton so that I can stitch it the way it shows on the photograph. So it makes me wonder. Now I bought this kit 4 years ago. No, that's not true. I bought this kit last year. I found it last year, but you know, you don't know how long this has been riding around in a shop's inventory. So I don't know if maybe Bent Creek after the picture was taken, they made a design change or what happened. But anyway, it's not that big of a deal because I'm sure my local L&S will be able to hook me up with some yellow pearl cotton. All right, so where am I? I am here. I've kind of been working in the middle, working all those cute pumpkins. So that's where I'm at on that one. So that was Maynia week 1. And in case you're new here, what I decided to do, well, let me even roll it back just a little bit further. So May is a month where cross-stitchers get together, and not even get together, but they all decide it's the month to stitch like crazy. Just, you know, go nuts. And the original intent was you would start, this started in 2015, you would start 15 new projects in the month of May. Stitch Mania. So you'd go crazy and start 15 things. Well, people have taken that idea and run with it and put their own twist on Mania. So what I decided to do for myself is just have 4 new starts and start them on each Monday. So that's what I'm doing for Mania. So this was my, oh, I put it back in the bag already. This was my week 1 Maynia start. So week 1. Week 2, I pulled out a kit. Now this kit I bought at the Spirit of Cross Stitch Festival in Richmond, Virginia in 2016, and the reason I know the exact date is I have the goodie bag behind me on the floor. Anyway, I picked up this kit, and it is by the Scarlet House, and it's called Coverlets. Isn't that cute? You see that? So I'm doing the top one, not the bottom one, and I am having a blast doing this. Let me fold my fabric so you can see where I'm at. Now, the reason I decided I wanted to do this one is it's stitched in silks. And the needlepoint silk. Let me see that. But what I discovered when I pulled this out is the model in the kit was stitched on 40 count linen, and it's stitched 1/2. So 1 strand of silk over 2 strands of, what is it, warp and weave? Anyway, over 2 strands on your fabric. And excuse me, I think what I thought was I would stitch it 2/2 when I started working on it. However, I got a little nervous because I thought, I wonder if there's enough silk in the kit to complete it if I do it 2/2. So what I have done is I'm just stitching it 1/2, and I think the coverage, what do you think, you guys? I think the coverage is okay. Now, I like really filled in stitches, so I'm a little hesitant. I don't know. But what I thought is, because there's 3 distinct colors, you know, 3 distinct sections, maybe I'll finish this section first and then see how my silk is holding out. And if it looks like there'd be plenty to go back and do it, you know, fill it in a second time, maybe recross it. I don't know. I'm thinking about that. Or maybe I just stick with my 1/2 and be happy. I'm thinking thoughts. I don't quite know. But let me tell you, the other thing I decided that I wanted to try, because I've never done it, is I marked off the chart to do diagonal stitching. I just thought this would be, excuse me, I got a tickle. I thought this would be a really good piece to try the diagonal stitching because it is, I don't know, somewhat Haid-like. Somewhat. I get it, it's not a full Haid, but I thought that would be fun to give that a try. And yeah, it is fun. I can see the appeal of doing the diagonal stitching because, especially on this chart where, you know, you're not stitching the leaves and the branches and the house, you're stitching the background all around it. Even doing the diagonal stitching, I found that I was really having to make sure I crossed off each row as I stitched it, which now has me thinking about maybe I need an Android tablet and Pattern Keeper, which is that wonderful cross-stitch program that is available for Android things, and we're Apple things around here, so I'm tempted. I'll admit it, I'm tempted. But anyway, it was it's really fun, and I'm having a complete blast giving that a try. Okay, so being as this is the beginning of week 3, what am I going to stitch on for the 3rd week of Maynia? Well, I'm sticking with Scarlet House, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the Autumn Alphabet, which I can hardly wait to start. I have the horn book. I've showed you this before for finishing, so it's all set. I mean, it's a complete thing. I'm going to do it on a 40 count linen in the color Flax. And then this has hardly, it's only has 4 colors in it. So this will be fun to stitch. So that is what I'm going to do for my Monday start for week 3 of Stitch Maynia. I'm really happy about that. When I wasn't stitching on my Maynia pieces, I kind of gave myself permission to stitch on them as long as they held my interest, and then when I felt like I was done and ready to do something else, I just moved on. And I did pull out 3 whips over the last 2 weeks that I've worked on, so I thought I'd show you my progress on those. And the first one I worked on, I'm just grabbing the pattern picture, I worked on the Stone Street Stitchworks Fireworks on the 4th of July. And I made some progress on the firework. So that is where I am on the firework. And this, I'm stitching it on a 32 count Apple Butter R&R linen. So I think that looks really pretty. I'm digging it. I don't know if I'll get it stitched or, finished by July 4th, but it'd be cool if I did. But I don't think it will. There's quite a bit of stitching. There's a house and a barn still to go. There's quite a bit of stitching left, so I don't think I'll make it for this year, but definitely for next year. So that was one of the whips I worked on. And then, I just gotta show you. Look at my cute Duck Duck Goose bag. Love this thing. Okay, so that was one of the whips I worked on. The other whip that I worked on was Cinnamon Stars by Plum Street Samplers. Can you see that? Okay. This guy is like in timeout. I had to unstitch 3 times on this thing. I could not get it right. So I did not get much, well, I did lots of stitching, but I did not make much progress. So here I am. I was having trouble with the building. I just could not get that going right. And then it turned out on the roof, I was just happily stitching away, and I did one too many rows. I don't know what happened. So there's supposed to be, in this little section, there's supposed to be 4 rows. I did 5. So then when I started doing, you know, the building bits underneath, they were all off and they weren't lining up. And I thought about leaving it. And I know there's lots of people that say, once I stitch it, I don't unstitch it. I just figure my way around it. And I thought about doing that. I thought, well, I can, you know, I can fudge it. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, do I want to have to fudge every single row until I complete the house? Because, let's face it, the house is kind of, you know, the big bit, right? And I thought, if I have to fudge the entire house, that's gonna drive me nuts. So I sat down and I picked it all out. It took me forever, but I picked it all out. Then I started doing my border. Then I got that off. I did the outline of the house. I got that off, picked that out. Then I thought, all right, I'm just gonna go row by row by row. I got that off. So, Cinnamon Stars is in time out. I don't know what I don't know when I'm gonna pick this back up again. What's in there now is right, so I'm over the hump with this guy, but man, did this guy give me a run for my money. Ah, don't you hate it when that happens? That's just so annoying. All right, oh, time for smoothie, right? Okay, the other thing that I worked on was, I got my colors all over the place down on my desk, you won't believe it. I worked on my Peppermint Purple Blackwork SAL. So that's where I am on that. I had somebody ask me, because I've told you before, if you remember, that I'm going to do this in a rainbow progression. And somebody was wondering what colors I have selected. So I'm just going to show you the numbers. So these numbers down the side are what I'm going to do, and then I'll hold them up so you can really see what I'm doing. So row 1 is, well, it'd be nice if I didn't cover the number, is 326. Row 2 is 603. After that, I'm moving to a more pinky color. 907. Ugh, it'd be nice if I could read. 917, sorry, 917 is the next one. Then we're getting our purple on, going to 208. 208 is the next one. From there, our blues are going to start showing up. We are going to 792. And then we're going to get all the purple out of the blue, and we're heading to 517. Okay? And then we're going to lighten it up and go to 807. Okay? From there, we start getting into our greens, and apparently this one is well loved. This bobbin is a mess. This is $6.99. And from there, one of the newer colors, going to 16. From there, we are heading to the sunshine. We are going to do a lovely sunshine yellow, 726. After 726, even brighter, 444. Then we're going to start getting the oranges in the mix. This is 741. And finishing off with 740. So there is my rainbow for Peppermint Purple SAL. So each row is going to be one of those colors. There's 13 rows. I've picked 13 colors, and that's where I'm at on that one. So that has been a whole lot of fun to work on. I have done a little bit of stash enhancement, just a little tiny bit, and just wanted to show you. It's fabric and floss. Now, I showed you last time that I had picked up the digital chart for Oh My Darling, Beautiful Things by Lindy Stitches, and I ordered up all of the classic color works that make up this kit. So look at those beautiful colors. That blue, I love that. So one of the whips in my bookcase behind me is the Jeanette Douglas what is it, Cozy into Winter, a little basket, and there's some classic color works in that kit. And I just love stitching with it. So when I saw that there was a floss pack for Beautiful Things that was all classic color works, I couldn't help myself. I splurged. So that was one of the stash enhancements that I got myself. And then I got all of the flosses all pulled and bobbinated for Light by Barbara Anna. So they are, that's not the right one. They are these right here. So this is all set to go. And then the companion piece I haven't printed out yet, but it's called Key. And those are all of the colors for that. So yesterday, all these flosses have been sitting on my desk forever, and I sat in front of the TV and I bobbinated, and this is my Orc container, and it is full of DMC wrappers. I kidded. It was super fun. The other thing that I kidded and is ready to go is this. This is for the Stitching Book Club Secret Garden SAL. So this, I've got the fabric, I've got all the flosses, they're all bobbinated, it's all set to go. I think, is it, I'm gonna look at my calendar. It's next week. The first part will launch. So I'm ready for that. The other thing I'm ready for is I finally got my fabric for Harbor Haven. Remember that? My husband gave me that for Christmas, all 12 charts. Yep. So I have got stuck in my bag here all of the floss. It's all bobbinated. That's what I did on Sunday, you guys. I just wound. So I've got my fabric, I've got my patterns, I've got my flosses. This is going to be a January start. I'm looking forward to starting that in January. And that is where I'm at. The last thing I wanted to show you is some stitchy kindness. I have met a really nice stitcher. Her name is Kayla. She has a FlossTube channel. Kayla, I think you say it Kula, K-O-L-L-A, Kayla with K-A-Y-L-A. So she had needed a floss. And I thought, well, I've got that and I'm not using it. It's not in a project. So I just mailed it to her and I said, nope, I don't need it back. Just use it, enjoy it. She sent me a thank you gift for 1 skein of floss. Kayla, this is over the top and I am so grateful. I am so happy to have met you. I love your FlossTube channel. You guys, if you're not watching Kayla, you need to watch Kayla. Her channel is delightful. She has wonderful pieces that she's stitching on. You just need to go check her out. So, without further ado, Kayla sent me a project bag that she made. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Ah. So, and then she wrote me a note. And so I'm going to keep that in the project bag forever so I can reread it and love it. But she didn't just send me a project bag, you guys. She also stitched me up this. And I mean, it's fully finished. I mean, framed. It couldn't be cuter. So that is going to sit on my desk. And I really appreciate that, Kayla. I really, really do. So thank you for your kindness. I really appreciate it. FlossTube people are the best, aren't they? Everybody is willing to help a stitcher out, share their knowledge, get you going, get you motivated. Boy, there's lots of motivation out there on FlossTube. So I just thoroughly appreciate this community. And I want to tell you who I have been watching on FlossTube in case you are getting to the point where you feel like you've watched everybody. I watched, besides Kayla, I watched her, I think it's her best friend. I know they're friends. I think they're best friends. But if you're not watching Southern Doxy Stitcher, you need to. Her name is Michelle. She's delightful. And she has a dachshund and she is doing Stitch Mania, and she's put her own twist on it. So go find out what Southern Doxy Stitcher is doing for Mania. It is super cute and you guys will totally dig her. So watch Southern Doxy Stitcher. The other one I'm watching is X Stitch MD. And she does Quakers, and she stitches beautifully. And I've never stitched a Quaker. Now I want to stitch one. And I know which one I'm going to stitch. I'm going to stitch the Coffee Quaker. Yep, that's going to be my first Quaker. So, she has inspired me to stitch a Quaker. And I thank her for that. That's great. The other ones that I watched this week, I watched the Attic Needlework Shop. I think this is their FlossTube number 6. And I get lots of inspiration from those two gals. So if you want to watch the Attic Needlework, I think that's a good choice. And then in the same vein, I love watching Nicola Parkman. And she is the designer behind Hands Across the Sea samplers. And I don't really stitch samplers, but I absolutely love watching her and seeing what she's up to. I love hearing her talk about her process and how she selects colors. I just get lots of inspiration from watching her. So if you need a little color inspiration, a little history lesson, go watch Nicola. She's fantastic. And then the last one I watched this week is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, Olivia. And she is edging into a finish on her, I think it's either Lady of the Flag or Lady Liberty. Sorry, Olivia, I can't remember which one. But go watch her. It's beautiful. Her stitching is fantastic. She also does quilts, so if you do quilts, you'll totally dig what she's doing. So that's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you stopping in. I hope you're all doing well, you're staying safe, and I will catch up with you next week. I have got to go telecommute and get my work done, but I thought I'm going to start with FlossTube because this can be uploading while I'm working. That was my big plan. So, all right, you guys, have a fantastic week and stitch happy. See you later. Bye.